really need to get a new chair. What's up, everybody? Big John, and here we are with part 2 of my favorite wrestlers of all time, the top 10 list. We've been through 10 through 6. If you didn't watch it, go to my videos, check it out. It's the one before this one. Watch it, learn, understand me better, and who I love as a wrestler. Like I said in the first video, this was a really hard list to make, so this isn't perfect. I changed this 1,000 times, but this is the best one I came up with because I really had to think about who do I enjoy watching as a performer, who do I enjoy listening to, and just everything all around. So we're just gonna get straight into it. Enough talking. Let's talk about wrestling. Yeah, baby. Coming in at number 5, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. He is Mr. WrestleMania for a reason. That man, literally like 99% of his matches, amazing, phenomenal. The ladder match he has with Razor Ramon, one of the best matches ever, still to this day. So good. The matches he had with The Undertaker, so good. It's just, and I mean, think about it, the super kick, sweet chin music, how much of a dominant move that's used just by wrestlers across the board at all companies and in the independent scene and everything. And just his work on the mic, just everything about Shawn Michaels was so awesome. I loved him as a good guy, as a bad guy. I loved him when he lost his smile. You know, I mean, he's involved in one of my favorite matches ever with him and Ric Flair. When he retired Ric Flair. That is one of the best storytelling matches I have ever watched. If you've never watched that, I encourage you to go watch that. We're going to keep it rolling. Number 4, Penta El Zero M, or Pentagon Jr. This guy, I found out about him through Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground was fantastic. If you've never watched it, I would highly recommend it. It's basically a soap opera with wrestling. Like, it's wrestling made more soap opera-y, I guess. But being introduced to him and watching him wrestle, and then going through and finding matches he had on YouTube, like in AAA in Mexico, and all the independent cool stuff he's done, and then everything he's, like, all of his matches in AEW have been so good, and really just in general, the Lucha Bros, really the Death Triangle, yeah, if you've been paying attention to AEW, because Pac is amazing too. But man, there's just something special about Penta for me, and I think it's because he's a bigger guy. So he does the power moves, but he's also still lucha libre, so he does the high flying stuff, and it's really awesome to watch. And I just love watching him every time he performs. So that's why he's so high up, because literally as soon as I started watching him on Lucha, I just became engrossed with him. I was just like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with this guy. This is awesome. Number 3, the Dead Man, the Undertaker. Now, he's probably on everybody's favorites list, but with good reason. He's the Undertaker. I mean, you look at the man's career. I mean, it spans past 30 years in reality, but he was 30 years as the Dead Man himself. But just how he could recreate the same character, how there was different versions of the Undertaker throughout the career. And they were all good. Even the American Badass was awesome. That was so cool. How cool was it to see a guy roll out on a motorcycle to Limp Bizkit's Rolling? I mean, come on, baby. Come on. And just, I love up until recently, when he's officially retired, we'll see. He really kept kayfabe alive. Like, he was one of the very few guys that in this era of wrestling, you really didn't know too much about him up until like the last couple of years. he was kind of a mystery. I like that about him. He was old school in every way, but he also recreated himself and kept with the times because he understood that that is part of it. But the Undertaker can get 2 thumbs up, high fives. You're the man. I love you. That's why you're number 3. And you're sitting here thinking, well, John, why is the Undertaker number 3? And number 2 is going to be a little controversial because there's people on both sides of the fence of this guy. And like I said, this is a favorites list. This is not me saying top 10 best wrestlers ever. It's not that. These are my favorites, my personal favorites, and why. Number 2, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, I honestly, just like kind of like Penta, I found out about Kenny Omega once I started watching New Japan a lot more because, and the reason I started watching New Japan a lot more was because of the Young Bucks. And AJ Styles, actually, because I started going back and watching his old like wrestling matches and came across him from New Japan, and that intertwined with the Bullet Club and all of that stuff. And so I got really into the Bullet Club storyline and followed it from the beginning to where it is now, or where it was at the time when I first discovered Kenny Omega. And man, there was something about Kenny Omega that just really stood out to me. And just his performance, and just, I love how over the top he is. And I love that he's into video games and stuff like that. He's just like a giant nerd, but he can also be like this really cool, awesome, like hard looking wrestler, like when he's a heel and stuff. I don't know, man. There's just something about Kenny Omega that every time he wrestles, I'm kind of at the edge of my seat kind of thing. Because I don't know what to expect. And he's so just fast paced, like boom, 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 boom. I mean, you know, there's not many guys that can do that. And the fact that he can work with people to do that as well, because he makes the other people he works with look good. And I think that's just as important as looking good yourself. I mean, you know, I'm no wrestler. I don't know how it works, but I know that when I watch those matches, when he does a V-trigger and knees somebody, it looks like he has just obliterated them in the face. And that gives props to the way he performs it, as well as the way that his opponent is taking it. So, I don't know, man. There's something about Kenny Omega that's just, ever since I found out about him a few years ago, I've just been just a little borderline obsessed. Call me Kenny, please. Number 1, I want an appropriate day for my number 1. It is 3/16, baby, and you know what that means. The Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, give me a hell yeah. Listen, I grew up in that era. Stone Cold was it. He was the coolest dude ever. He was like just this like hard, like blue collared type, just like American man, just beer guzzling, just ass whooping man. And it was so rad. And so, I don't know, there's just, and even before that, especially now, because one thing I love to do is go back and figure out like who they were before they were, you know, their big thing, like before he was Stone Cold, and the whole stunning Steve Austin thing. That was awesome, where him and Brian Pillman were the Hollywood, wow, I just went blank. Hollywood Blondes. There we go. And then, you know, his time in ECW. There's a fantastic promo he cuts when he was in ECW where he's dressed up like Hulk Hogan and he's making fun of Hulk Hogan, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I would highly recommend you go watch all of that stuff and see how he kind of transformed himself into Stone Cold Steve Austin. And of course, you know, the King of the Ring, you know, what started it all. Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. That was the start. And from there, it was just history. And I think most people can agree with me that Stone Cold Steve Austin was fantastic. He was like one of the larger than life characters of the Attitude Era. You know, it was so rad when there was like 30 wrestlers all fighting in the ring, and then he just comes in and just starts knocking everybody out and stone cold stunning everybody, and the whole place is just going nutso. I don't know, man. There's just, he had that it factor, and there's not many people that have it. And I really like no offense to Kevin Owens, he's fantastic. I don't like seeing him doing the stunner all the time. It doesn't have the same effect, nor does it get me nearly as excited as it did when Stone Cold Steve Austin did it, because it wasn't the move itself, it was Stone Cold doing it. And just man, what a wrestler, and what a way to end this list. I'm boring, and I'm sorry. I've had some more questions sent in to me that I'm going to try to answer over time. Life is still kind of busy for me, but work is starting to transition back into a normal schedule, so life is going to start getting normal again, which means I'm going to be able to start doing more videos again. And I hope you like them, because I know I have friends on here that watch this and enjoy this, and it's kind of a way of you to keep up with me and learn new things about me. That's cool. And if this is the first time you've ever watched one of my videos, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and hit those notifications so you know when I post a new one, because you never know about me. It could be once a week, it could be a couple months in between, you just never know. Which we're going to get on a new schedule, and we're going to get videos pumping out to you guys that are quality and good videos. And yeah, I've been getting a lot of figures too, so I'm probably going to do an updated video of all the figures I have in my collection now. So yeah, until next time, I'm Big John. Stay tuned for more, and don't forget to ask me questions so I can answer them. Bye.